All right, sorry everyone that I joined late. I had challenges with my network. My apologies. I'm very, very sorry. Please let me know if you can um, see my screen. All right. All right. So in the comment section, let me know if you can see my screen as well as hear my voice so that I can start. In the comment section. Right. So I'm going to start with the first question. So today we are going to discuss all the questions regarding Microsoft Word, Excel, database, and then HTML based on the question paper, the trial question paper that I gave. Right. So right now we have the first question that says open one digital word processing document and insert your name and surname in the header. And then also change the page margin of the entire document to narrow for 1 mark. So I'm going to open that word processing document, one digital. Now here is it. So the question says we should change the margin into narrow. So let me activate my ruler settings. So to change the margins, we go to layout and then margins, then you see narrow. There are several margins that we have moderate, we have wide, and then normal. So you select narrow margin. Right. The second question, apply the transform chevron up word processing effect to the heading empowering education through technology found on page 2. Right. So here we go to page 2. And then this is the heading. Now the question wants us to apply word art. So you select the heading and then word art, you'll get it from insert, and then you see word art. Then you select any word art because the question did not specify what kind of word art you should choose. So you select the word art, any word art here. Now, the moment you select the word art, you realize that it's going to give you the shape format. So if you don't have shape format in some instances, you will see format. So here you click on format or shape format, and then you will find word art styles. So under the word art styles, we have first text fill, we have text outline, which is the weight, and then the third one is the word art style. Then within the word art style, you are going to find shadow, reflection, glow, bevel, 3D rotation, and transform. So this question is talking about the transform style. Now there are several names. So according to the question, says chevron up. Here is it. We have chevron down and others. So you choose the up one. This is what the question wanted. And then again, it says, yeah, so we only apply the chevron up for 1 mark. Then 1.3, make use of word processing feature to ensure that the heading digital feature and its respective paragraph will always display on the same page. Now the heading here, digital feature and this one must always display on the same page. And then the Microsoft Word feature that we use is paragraph group. So you go to paragraph group or paragraph settings, and then you go to line and page break. So here is keep lines together. Keep lines together. They should always remain together. So you take keep lines together and then okay. So they should always remain together. That's the paragraph settings. You go to paragraph and then keep lines together. Then we also have page break before. If the question wants you to insert page break before this one. So it is also under paragraph, and then you take page break before. And then okay. So it's going to move to the next page. Right. Then the next question also talk about locate the paragraph starting with the Smart Skills program and then ending with 21st Century Career on page 4. Format the text as shown in the screenshot, skills format.png. Now, so we have the Smart Skills program. And then the image is also there. So always look out for the note. They always provide note. So here it says the font should be Calibri, size 12, and it should be justified. So first of all, we need to select this, and then the font should be Calibri. So we change the font to Calibri, and then 12 PT, or you can use this one to change it. And then it should be justified. This is justified because you see learners asking what is justified. So you click on justify. Good. Now, after selecting justify, let's go to the next one. It says the image must have a solid black border of 2.25 pt. So we go and click on the image. Now you will find picture format. The moment you select the image, you are going to find picture format. Then the size, we are going to change the size. So we click on the size. Then you must make sure that lock aspect ratio is unchecked. You remove lock aspect ratio so that you can have a specific or absolute or fixed height and then fixed width. So according to the question, it says the height. Let me open the question in PDF so that it becomes easier for me. Right. So now they say the height should be 7.2 and then the width should be 7.3. So we go to the height 7.2. So the height should be 7.2. We change it to 7.2 or 7.2 based on what you have there. And this one should be 7.4. Then you click OK. Right, so this is the specific height the question is looking for. And then again, then it says a solid black border of 2.25. So when you click on the image, then you go to picture format again, then you are going to find picture border. Then you select the weight of the picture or the border, the weight of the border. And here is 2.25, which is 2.25. This is 2.25. Right, now, the other part is if you check the question, where is the image located? They move the image so that the text will be around it. Now, in order to do that, you must change the layout. You go to layout options and then make it either square or tight so that you can move it. Now you can see that it goes up and then from the question, the other side on the right hand side there is starting from fundamentals. So you shift it so that you have from fundamentals and then the other end. So basically, this is what the question wanted us to do, to change the size and then put a border around it. Then again, we move it. So this is what the question wanted us to do. So as you can see here, the size is 7.4 and 7.2. Right, we move to the next question. Change all the occurrences of the whole word learners that appear in the document to a symbol. And then the symbol character code is 194. So anytime you are going to do find and replace that involves a picture or that involves a symbol, all that you need to do is to insert the symbol first. So first of all, I'm going to insert the symbol anywhere by going to insert symbol, and then I choose more symbols. Now, when I go to insert symbol, more symbols, where it says font, I select Wingdings. That's what the question said, Wingdings. And then the character code is 194. Character code 194. And then you click on insert. So the symbol will be inserted here. Please focus on what the question is saying. Forget about it says Webdings, sorry. It's supposed to be Webdings, not Wingdings. So it should be Webdings. Webdings character code 194. Right. So after inserting the symbol, what you need to do is to cut the symbol. When you insert the symbol, you need to cut the symbol. Now, so this is the symbol you select, you right click and choose cut. So when you cut the symbol, or anytime you copy the symbol, it goes to what we call the clipboard. Now, when it is stored in the clipboard, we are now going to paste it. So we go to replace from the home tab, you will find replace. And then it says find what? What are we finding? Learners. Then we replace with, you don't have to right click and say paste. It's going to give you different font, but because we want to maintain the Webdings character code, we go to more, and then you'll find here special. Then you choose clipboard content. So the clipboard content you see raised to the power C. That's clipboard content. And then you take find whole words only. Then you go to replace all. So we got 8 replacement with that symbol. It should be 8 replacements with the symbol. Right. So that is what the question wanted us to do. So 8 replacements. Now, the next question, it says, set page 5 to landscape only. The rest of the pages should be portrait for 3 marks. Now, in order to do that, let's go to page 5. Here is page 5. Now we want only this page to be landscape. The rest of the pages should be portrait. Right. So in order to do that, we need to divide this page 5 from the rest of the pages. We have to divide page 5 from page 6, and we have to divide page 5 from page 4, so that we create a section. In other words, we call it division. We create a division between page 5 and the rest of the pages. And how do you achieve such, or how do you get or arrive at such situation? What you need to do is the first sentence of page 5, you click there, and then we are going to create a break, which is division. So we can go to layout, and then you'll find break. Then we choose continuous, or you can choose next page. Now, why I love continuous page is that it doesn't create additional page. So you click on continuous. So we have created it here. Then you go to the last text of that page. then again, you create continuous as well. So here we have divided page 4 or page 5 from page 4 and then also from page 6. Now, how are we going to make sure that this one maintains or remains? So when we click here and then we go to layout again, orientation, landscape. So that page only takes to landscape, the rest are portrait. Now, we got an issue here because of the sentences and others. So we need to create the space. It should only be that page. It created another space for us. It should only fit into this page because we ended up here. So the spaces must not be there. We must just adjust the spaces so that we don't have unnecessary space. Right. We don't want other pages to be also landscape. It should only be this page. So we adjust it, ending here, and then starting from here should be landscape. The rest should be portrait. So this situation, all that you need to do is to set continuous section break before and after, and then you go to layout, then you set the orientation. So basically, this is what the question wanted us to do. Now, we move straight to the next question that talks about changing the content of the wearable device to appear in 4 columns, and then each must have or appear on the paragraph with a line between. Now, we have this wearable devices. Let's look at it. Here is wearable technologies to appear in 4 columns. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We want this to be in 4 columns. So what you need to do is you select them and then you go to layout, columns, more columns. Then we set the number of columns, we make it 4. And then we choose line between. Right, then we just click OK. So we have created 4 columns with a line between. Now, the question says each heading must appear on top of each column. So meaning that wearable technology must appear in column 1 on top. Immersive simulation must appear on top of column 2. This one must appear, health tracking must be on top of column 3. And examples of these technologies must appear in top of column 4. So now, in order to get to this, what you have to do is you click before the immersive simulation, and then you go to breaks, and then we choose column. We have to place column break so that it moves this one to the next column. So we use column breaks, column. So it changes to the next column. Now we want to move this also to the next column. You click before it, breaks, and then column. It moves to the 3rd column. Now this is the last one. We click before the examples of these technologies include. Then we go to breaks, and then we choose column. So basically, each of them will be on top of each column. That's how we set a column, and then we place them on top of each column. So grade 12, watch out for these type of questions. First of all, you set it, you select them, you set it as 4 columns with a line between, and you apply the column breaks. Now the next question, convert the end note at the end of the document to footnote. So now let's check the end note at the end of the document. Here is the end note. How do we convert this to footnote? All that you need to do is right click next to the end note. Then you will see here convert to footnote. You click on convert to footnote. It will now change to footnote. So that's how we convert end note to footnote. Add a 7 centimeter tab to the existing tab so that it looks as you see. Now, this is the question. So you select it. we need to set a tape stop of 7 centimeters. Now, for you to see what type of tape stop, here you find a bar. So when you see a bar in between or separating it, that means that it is what? A bar tape stop. Now, like I said yesterday, if you are supposed to set a tape stop, just go to the ruler settings, 7 centimeters just below it, double click. It's going to open the tape stop position for you. And then here with the tape stop position, you tick bar, right? And then you click on set. The moment you set it, okay, you will see a bar on 7 centimeters. As you can see here, there is a bar on 7 centimeters. So now we need to move this from the screenshot. We need to move emergency. So you click before emergency numbers and you press the tab key to move it behind the bar, and also the numbers also must also be there. Each number you click or you press the tab key to move it. Now when you make a mistake, you can even bring it back by using the indent, decrease indent, to move it back, or you use the backspace to take it to that side, right? So this is basically what the question wanted us to do. Now it says ignore the border. That means we don't need to put a border around it for 3 marks. Now 1.10, modify the heading 1 style as follows. Expand the character spacing by 3 pt and then apply a 3D top level format text effect with a height of 5 pt. Now there's heading 1 already there. The style heading 1 is there. So we have to modify it by right clicking and choose modify. Now, like I told you yesterday, whenever you are modifying, they didn't ask you to change the name. So you are making changes to the existing style. So you go to format. Now, the first question says, we should put character spacing. So character spacing is under font, and then you go to advanced. Then the character spacing is expanded by 3 pt. Or you can just type 3. In examination, make sure that you don't waste time. So you type 3 and then you click on OK. Now, the next question is talking about, so here, watch out for some of these questions. You can also be asked to put a paragraph. You can also be asked to put a tape stop around it. So take note. You can equally be asked to put a border, shading, and then others filling with a color. You can also be given a question to put a frame or text effect and numbering. So the text effect is outline, and they say the gradient, let me check, top level text effect format of a height of 3 pt, of 5 pt. So we have the first one, which is the fill and outline, and then here we have also the 3D format. So it's under the format text effect. Let me repeat. You go to format text effect, not this one. This one is talking about the fill and then the text outline with the border. Here is talking about the shadow, the reflection, but here we want a 3D format, top level with a height of 5 pt. So this is where you find it. There are so many different levels. So most learners were asking, how do we find these? So you go to the text effect and then okay. Now, when you are done, if sometimes the question wants you to automatically update, you click there and say automatically update, and then okay. So all the heading 1 style will already be there, right? So that is it. I will check the comment section also, right? If you have any comment, you can also put it there. I'll read and then answer everyone. Now, let me move straight to the next question. Change the page numbers in the footer as follows. The format of the page number with the table of content should appear in Roman numbers. That's the first page. The consecutive should appear with a triangle format. And then the page after the table of content should start with number 1. So here, in most cases, page numbers, learners struggle with it. Now, how do we deal with this situation? Now, first of all, the question says we should insert page numbers, and then only the first part should be Roman numbers now, which is the cover page. Starting from here, it should start numbering with page 1. So to deal with page numbers, you need, meaning that we are separating page 1 from the rest of the pages. So we can also do that by double clicking at the footer section. And then first of all, we insert our page number, the bottom of the page, and we want triangular 2 or triangle 2. Now it shows 1 here, this side shows 2. But we want to separate page 1 from page 2. So we take different first page so that page 1 doesn't have any numbering now. Now page 2, instead of it to start with page 1, it says 2. So we go back there and then we go to page numbers, format page numbers. Then we say start at 1, because here, let's say this one will start with 0. That side is 1. Here is 2. So we have to start with 0. You go to page numbers, format page numbers, start at 0. Why start at 0? Because the first page will be regarded as 0. And then the second page, we will start numbering as 1. So here, we start at 1, this side 2, and then the 3. Now, the very first page, we are separating this one from this page. So meaning we want to, there's no link to the previous for the top. So we need to insert the page number here. But then when we insert the page number, we must make it Roman numbers. It says 0. So here, this one, we are going to change the format it to the Roman numbers. So here we are not continuing from the previous page, meaning there should be a section there. So this is I. Now here shows I. So you see it is continuing from here. This is I, and this is showing I. So we need to separate this side from that side. And that is why whenever you have this type of questions, all that you need to do is to put section break to divide both sections. So now, this is footer section, the first page, and this is also section 1. So it means that they are all continuing with the same section. So what we need to do is to separate the first page from the rest of the pages. Before we can achieve these results, we need to separate this page from the rest of the pages. Now, in order to do that, we put again section break. So we go to break, and then we can choose continuous. So we have separated this page from that page. And now, when you separate them, there is going to be link to previous. You must remove this link to previous from page 2. And then also the header should be the link. So now we get a perfect picture. Here says section 1. Now when you come here, it says section 2. That means we have divided the first page with this section. So here, section 2, we can comfortably put our page number, which is triangular 1. The formatting, should be Roman numbers. So it should be Roman numbers 1, 2, 3, and then starting at 1. So now we see here having 1. This one is having Roman number I, all because of the section break. So please take note. Take note of that. Now, I'm going to repeat this to make it simple. I wanted to show you so that in examination, when you get stuck of these type of questions, how do you have to achieve that? It can be 5 marks or more than that. So I'm going to put undo and then start all over. Right. Now, we want to number page 1 with the Roman numbers, and then page 2 having 1, 2, 3 using the triangular style. And to do that, the best way is to put section break. So we put section break to divide page 1 from page 2. So what you do is you click inside page 1 or at the bottom of page 1, you go to layout, break, continuous. Now, as soon as you do that, double click on the header of section 2, that's page 2. So you see link to previous, you need to delink it. You must remove that, the header of section 2 and the footer of section 2. You must delink it. Why do we delink? We are separating from page 2 divided from page 1. Now, when you do that, then you can now set our page number on our footer section here. We go to page number, bottom, and then we choose the triangular. So it starts at 1, 2, going like that. Now, the first page, we go there, and then we go and insert bottom of the page. Let's say this one. It gives us 1. But they want the Roman number, so we must go back to page number, format, and then we choose the Roman numbers instead of 1, 2, 3. So it gives us I. Now when it comes here, it gives us 1. So this is the easier way of solving this type of question by putting the section break. Right. Now, let's move on to the next question. That's all about question 1. We move on to the next question. It says, insert the current date field in the footer of first page only. The current date in the footer of first page only. So this one becomes easier because we have put the section break. It becomes easier. So we go to the footer of the first page. You want to put a current date. Let's say we want to put on the left. Now let me show you. To go to the footer, just go to the bottom there, double click. It opens the footer and the header for you. Now because the page number is in the middle, we can put a current date on the left hand side or on the right hand side. Now when you click on the left hand side, it opens the header and footer auxiliary tab for you. Now you go to the document info, or you can go to date and time. So here we can insert a lot of things in the footer. So here you go to date and time and you choose update automatically. The question didn't tell us which format should it be. Let me check once more. Yeah, there was no format, but it says it should be centered. So we choose the format. Now the question says it should be centered. So you select it. How do we center? You go to home and then you choose center, so that we center it. Even though the page number is there, so it will be below the page number. Right. So that's all about question 1. For how many marks? 31 marks. Now let's move straight to the next question. So you see that I spent about 30 or 35 minutes to do 31 marks question. So Microsoft Word, at least both questions, you shouldn't spend more than an hour. Microsoft Word should be an hour, spreadsheet 1 hour, and then the last hour database 40 minutes, and then HTML will be 10 or 15 minutes. So you must divide your time properly. Right, now let's go to the next Microsoft Word, question 2. So I'm done with question 1. I move straight to question 2. to smart learning. Right. Now the question says, insert the motion cover page, and then we replace the picture on the cover page with any suitable picture from the exam folder. So this is the cover page. Now we need to insert the motion cover page here. So we go to insert cover page. Then we look for the motion cover page. There are so many cover pages there. Built in, I do not have it here. I'm not sure whether you have motion. So I go to more and then I check on my side. More cover page from the office. So mine is 365. Sorry for that. I think most of you might have. I just updated mine. I don't see motion here, but I think most of you can find it there. Let me just put integral cover page. Apologies. So, but then you can check whether you have motion cover page. Now, when you insert the cover page, we need to change this picture. So how do we change a picture? You right click and then you go to change picture. This is how we change the picture of a cover page. Then this PC. Then I can now select any picture. Right. So this is my picture that I want to choose. And then it says insert your name and surname as the author. So we look for the author. Then I insert my name and surname. Right. So I type it there. And then sometimes they can ask you to change the document title and others. But this question, they didn't say that. So that is all. Insert the word processing or insert the word smart learning rollout 2025 as the document title. Yes, there was a question like that. So we type smart learning rollout 2025. Yeah, that's the title. Add the source reference at the last page to the document. Most learners were struggling with this one. They said the source reference. Where is the source? The question says the last page of the document. There is a source there. So let's check. If you go to the last page of the document, here is the source. So now the author is Department of Education 2025, Smart Skills for a Digital Future, National Rollout Plan, Pretoria, DBE Publications. So this one can be, it could be an article or it could be a book because they mention the one who published, the author, the year published, and then the title also. So now, how do we add this? You need to go to references and then you type manage source. So you have to go to references and then you type manage source, or alternatively, you go to search and then type source manager.
Highlight. This is highlight.
Source manager. Right now, you go to new so that you'll be able to add the source. So now look at it here. We have the type of the source, the author, the title, the year, and then the publisher and city. So this should be a book. Now, for it to be easier for you, what you need to do is select it and then you can copy it so that it becomes easier. So you can type source, then to give you source manager, or you go to reference and then you click on source manager. Then we go to new. So we choose book, and then I can put it on the title. Then I select and cut Department of Education as the author. Then the year, you cut this year, 2025, so that it becomes easier for you. And then Smart Skills for a Digital Future, National Policy Plan. This is the title. And the Pretoria is the city. So you select Pretoria, or you can type it. So you right click and cut, and then you put it under city. And then publications is DBE. That's the publisher. Right. So yeah, you just copy, then you put them there as the reference. Or alternatively, you can type, but in examination, you are going to spend a lot of time. So you have to always make sure that you use the shortest possible time to solve such questions. So you copy and then you do that. Now, so that's the source manager. You see all the sources here. If you don't need a source, if you want to make changes, let's say you have made a mistake, go to edit. Here, I made a mistake. Instead of it to say Department of Education, it say Education, comma. So make sure that whenever you put the title or the author, whenever you put the author, put the comma, especially when it's a sentence, so that it doesn't divide them for you. Otherwise, it's going to separate the education as the author name or the author surname and Department of Basic to be the name. So it was going to give a problem. Make sure you put a comma just after the author, and then it's not going to give you any problem. After that, you click OK. Right. Now, so if you were asked to insert a citation on a specific paragraph, you just go there and then insert citation. You see it there. Right. So this is the citation. Now, if we don't want this citation, you just go there, or you want to delete the date, you go and you go to edit citation. Then you can say suppress the year and then OK. So that will only be Department of Education without the year. We can equally go to edit citation. And then if we want to specify the page number where this information was retrieved from, maybe page 24, you say page 24, you type it here. Or if from 24 to 30, you type and then OK. So that page numbers will be here. So that's how we insert a citation. Watch out for this type of questions. They can ask you this type of questions, how to put citation and then how to add the source. Right. Now let's move straight to the next question. Format the paragraph that starts with the Smart Skills program offer and ends with that. To calibrate, the size is 11 and justified. Line spacing is 1.5 lines and a border around it. Please forgive me, this question I made a mistake. The heading, it was supposed to be Smart Skills for a Digital Future, this one, not the first one. I omitted that sentence, so you must forgive me. I deleted it by mistake when I was sending the data files. So please forgive me. So we are going to use this one as an example. So here, let's say this one. So you select, and then the question says it should be 11 PT. Then it should be calibrate and it should be justified. So this is justify. And then it should be calibrate and 11 PT. And again, 1.5 lines and a border around it. How do you go to 1.5 lines? You go to paragraph, you click on the arrow. So if you don't know where to find paragraph also, just type paragraph from tell me what to do. Please make use of this more often in order not to waste time in examination, whether Word, spreadsheet or database. If there is a particular setting that you don't know feature, you can also use this one to get it, or as a shortcut to get there. So paragraph. So we go there, and now it says it should be 1.5 lines, this one, not multiple. Sometimes they can ask you space before and after. Right. And then also the paragraph border. So when you are done with this one, you click OK. How do you get a border? You go to borders and shading, or alternative, like what I said yesterday, you can use the ruler settings, double click there, and then you go to layout, you will find borders. Now, when you go to borders and shading, so now this question says we have to place a border around the paragraph. So you go to border, not a page border, but rather a border around it. Then you select, let's say 3pt border, 3D, and then you choose 3pt around the paragraph. Then okay. So basically, this is what the question wanted you to do, to place a 3pt border around the paragraph. Right. We move straight to the next the next question. 4 marks, which is also another challenging question. We call it a text watermark. Now, this question says make use of a text watermark using wingdings symbol as follows. The text, you use a character wingdings 223, and then the font should be wingdings with 72, and then the color should be light gray, and the layout should be diagonal. So this question could be even 5 marks. It could be 5 marks. Now, how do we insert a text watermark? How do you insert a text watermark? The first thing to do is to insert that symbol anywhere, because we are going to cut that symbol. We are going to cut the symbol. So we go to insert symbol, and then we go to more symbols. So here the font should be wingdings. Wingdings. And then for the wingding, the character code, according to the question, it says 223. So it should be wingdings 223. Please forget about the symbol that is shown here. If you get a question of that nature, focus on the symbol code. So 223, and then you insert that symbol. Now, as soon as you insert the symbol, you cut that symbol. You select, right click, and choose cut. Now, when you cut the symbol, you are going to put the symbol as a watermark. Now, after cutting the symbol, we go to design. We go to design, and then you go to watermark, custom watermark. Now, when you choose custom watermark, according to the question, it says it should be text watermark. The question didn't say you must use picture watermark. It said text watermark. So you click on text watermark, and then where it says text, you delete the ASAP. You delete the ASAP, and then you paste it. You right click and choose paste. Now, when you paste it, try to change the symbol also to wingdings, so that it gives you the right symbol. And according to the size, the question said the size should be 72, and then the color should be light gray, and it should be diagonal. So you apply it. So they can tell you to choose any color. Let's say the color should be red. and then you choose apply. So basically, you'll find the watermark anywhere. But then also, this was the first time a question of that nature came last year, 2024. But imagine if they say the watermark should be only on a specific page. And that is where you have to also place the section break so that the watermark will be on a specific page. I'm going to also show you how to do that, even though the question didn't specify that type of scenario. Now, let's say I want the watermark to only be on the last page, not other page. So here I must apply what we call the section break to divide the last page from the rest of the pages. To divide the last page from the rest of the pages. Now, how do we divide these two? I must place the section break here on top of this page by going to layout, break, and then I place what we call continuous. Now, when I place the continuous page here, don't forget I must delink or divide the last page from the rest of the pages by double clicking on the header. Then I remove link to previous. I remove link to previous on the header as well as the footer. So now I have separated this page from the rest of the pages. Now, I want to delete the rest of the pages. So I go there. I must still activate the header and then the footer. So I go and then click on the symbol. When you place the mouse pointer, you will see that icon to select it. Then you click on delete. So here it has deleted it from the rest of the sections. Now let's go and see the last page. Only the last page is having it. So that's how we do to place the watermark on a specific page. You must use what we call a section break to divide that page from the rest of the pages, and you activate this footer or the header. Then you put the mouse pointer on it and press the delete key. That is how we separate or put watermark on a specific page. Please watch out for such type of questions. They always ask such type of questions, please. Now, let's go to the next question. That is multi-level list. Multi-level list, and then the table. Then we are done with Microsoft Word. Now, there's a multi-level list applied here. Let's study it carefully. As you can see from the question, you will see that there are two levels only applied here. The first level is having first, second, third, and fourth. When you talk about level, they are on the same line. Now, the second level is this one, ABC. So what you need to do is you have to yeah, right. So now what you need to do is apply multi-level list on this list listed here. I think it's this one here. Yeah, this same one. You select it. Let me just copy this information and put it outside. Sorry for this error. Here, I don't need the border around this page. So I must remove it. I want to just put it without the border. Now, when you select it, then multi-level list, will find it under paragraph. Just after numbering, you see multi-level list. And then you choose define new multi-level list. Now from the question paper, the first level is having first, second, and third. So how do we change that? You go to number style for this level and scroll down. You will see that part. These days we can confuse learners by bringing a more advanced one. We can bring this one, or we can even give you a bullet, circle, or an arrow, or a picture. We can also have new bullet with another symbol as the first level. So watch out for that. But now this question was usually first, second. So this is the one. Now, as soon as you select the number style, go and check enter formatting for numbers. Go and check. Here, they don't have open bracket. They only have the closed bracket. If there was open bracket, you change it at this page or at this point. Now, sometimes the question will only have no bracket, but it has dot. You change them here. That's the first level. Then you go to the second level. The second level is ABC with that. After that, you click OK. Now, as soon as you put OK, this question, I made it more technical. I wanted to test how learners were able to answer this. But in most cases, it's easier. As soon as you put this first level, all of them will be having first level. But I made it more technical by removing that. So I wanted learners to know this. Because province involved is not having list. So what you need to do is you go there, backspace, so that it will be on the same line with the first level. Then you press enter. It's going to give you second. Now, check, but then the province involved should be second. Yes, that is it. And then Houghton should be second level. Again, you go to backspace, press enter. It says third. So now this third, you click on increase indent, or you can press the tab so that it goes to the second level. Now you can see that here and that one, they are not on the same level. Try and then push them and make sure that the list indent are the same. They are all having the same, on the same line. Take note. Now Western Cape again, backspace, enter. Limpopo, backspace, enter. They are all on the second level. But then the outcome of pilot implementation is first level. So if I press backspace and enter, it still gives me the second level. How do I move it to the first level? So I go to decrease indent. Here you see decrease indent to take it back to the first level. And now let's check again. Then increase and improve digital should be also on the second level. So you press tab and this should also be the second level. So basically this is what the question wanted us to do. By making use of backspace and then the tab, and as well as the increase and decrease indent. Under normal circumstance, I don't think you will get this type of question. It becomes easier. But then this time, I made it more challenging for my grade 12s so that when you see that type of question, you know how to arrange them by using the backspace and others. Right. That's all about the multi-level list. Now the table, we talk about this table. The table, check out this table. This one, whenever you see these boxes like this, it means they apply a cell spacing margin. You remember HTML, we have the cell spacing and then cell padding. So the spaces between cells is 1 centimeter. They created a space. So that's how you look at it like that. And then they added another row here, which has the total row and then the total. That means they are finding the sum of all these. So basically, that's what the question wanted us to do. Now, where is the table? This is the table. Click inside the table. Go to table layout. Whenever you are dealing with table, when you click inside, you see table layout and table design. If you click outside the table, you don't see that. Only when you click inside the table, then you find table layout and table design. Now, with the table layout, you see cell margin. And then you find default cell spacing. You say allow spacing between cells. And then it should be 1 centimeter according to the question. Then, okay. So we can see we have the spaces between the cells. Now, then they created a new row below this. So when you click there, still under the table layout, you'll find insert row below, so that we can have another row here. Then the row, we type what we call total number of schools in bold. And then we are going to sum these. We are going to find the sum of these. So how do we find the sum of these? We go to table layout, then you see formula, and then you see sum above. Watch out for these. Sometimes they can ask you a question to change the format to 1 decimal place or 2 decimal place, or should be in currency. Especially if it's dealing with currency, then you choose the currency format there. So sum above. So this is what we got. So the total for all these. So this is what the question wanted from us. This is what the question wanted from us. Right. Now we move straight to question 3. That's the spreadsheet. Microsoft Word takes a lot of time. I believe spreadsheet and HTML and then the others, we will not spend much time. Let's go straight to 3 training. Let's start with question 3. And then we'll see after the lesson tomorrow morning. I will give you after the lesson, you have access to the recording, and then I will give the memo also to everyone. I think the educators will also have them, and then mark and see how you perform. Right. Rename sheet 1 to training. So this is sheet 1. How do we rename? You double click and then you type training. That's the simple way. You don't need to right click and say rename. Just double click. It will allow you to change the name. The second one, change the worksheet tab color to any color of your choice. You right click, then you see tab color. So any color of our choice. You select the tab color. Right. And then the next question says, use a spreadsheet feature to ensure that the contents in row 1 to row 9 remain on the screen if the user scroll down. Now, row 1 up, we know when I scroll down, everything will not remain on the screen. So now the question says from row 1 to row 9 should remain on the screen. How do we achieve that? How do we solve or achieve that type of question? Now, if the question says the content of from row 1 to row 9 to remain on top, you must go to the next row. That's row 10. You select the row. So like if the question says row 1 and 2 should remain on top, you select row 3, which is the next row. So here we select row 9 or row 10 because we want from row 1 up to 9 to remain on top. Then you go to view, you see what we call freeze pane. Freeze pane meaning that to lock row 1 to 9 to be on top. That's what we call a freeze pane. It's used to lock a row or column to be on top when you scroll down. Now you go to view freeze pane, or alternatively, you can get it from search or tell me what to do. You say freeze pane and then you select it. So here, when I scroll down from row 10, the one that I selected will always vanish. Only 1 to 9 will remain on top. Right. So basically, that's what we mean by freeze pane. Now, the next question, use a suitable lookup function in H10 to determine the training level for each employee. Now, we have this question here. The training levels are here. And you can see they are on rows, row 2 and row 3. Right. So if they are on rows, we use horizontal, which is H lookup. If they are in vertical, we use V lookup. For instance, when I talk about vertical, I mean this. When I talk about vertical, I mean this one. This is vertical in columns. They are vertical. So if it was like this, we use VLOOKUP. But if it is like this, we use HLOOKUP. But both VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, if you are using Office 2019 or Office 365, I will advise you to master XLOOKUP, which I will also use it to solve this question for you to see. Now, to use VLOOKUP, what you need to do is you select the entire table. So don't include the heading. You select the table values. You select the table values. Don't include the heading. You right click and choose define name. Why do we use define? It becomes easier to make sure that's called name name manager. You are giving a name. That means you are locking it. You are making it absolute. Now look at it here. It says refers to the levels page with a dollar sign. That means you are making it absolute reference. Sometimes let us forget to apply the dollar sign. So that's why I advise you to put the name. Just name it to lock it, to make it absolute. And then you can give it any name. I can say A. Just make it any name. Just a simple letter. So you say A already exists. So let me make it D. Or you can make it AA. Good. So I've given this table name as AA. Then when I go there, where am I supposed to put the function? Let me unfreeze the question because so that you can see properly. Yeah, I'm supposed to put the function here. The levels are there, the job title, and then we want the training levels. So the training levels are here, question 3.3, this side. So we use a function called HLOOKUP. Why are we using HLOOKUP? Because the table is horizontal. So equal sign HLOOKUP. As soon as you start typing, you see it here. Double click. Click on FX. Then say lookup value. In most cases, lookup value is always on the left-hand side. But then you don't worry yourself first. The first thing you must do is table array. Type the name of the table, which is AA. Now it gives all the values from the table. And then the row index. Which row are we taking the values from? Row 2. Why row 2? Because we don't need the assistant and others. We need whether intermediate or advanced. So it's row 2. Let me show you why it is also row 2. The row 1 contains the job titles. Row 2 contains the training levels. And we need to display the training levels. That's why I put row 2. Right. And then the lookup value on the left-hand side in most cases, that the job title, the one that's already there. Then the range lookup is either true or false. Now, if you put false, that means the same exact. Why do we say false? Meaning that if it's data analyst here, that side will also be data analyst. So we use false. When you drag down and then it gives you wrong answers, hashtag, then that you have to change it to true. So take note of that. Right. Now let me also use XLOOKUP. To use XLOOKUP, you separate each row, you give them different name. So I'll give a name for job titles. I separate the job titles. I right click, I give it a name. define name, maybe BB. And then I give a name to the training levels. So XLOOKUP, you separate them. Sorry, you right click and then choose define name. So I'm giving a name, let's say DD. So BB for the job title, DD for the training levels. You can give it any name. Like I always, you can even put your name there, your name and surname to separate them. Now after that, I use the function called XLOOKUP, equal sign XLOOKUP. You click on FX, the lookup value, you wait. So the lookup array is the first name you gave, which is BB. The administrative, which is the job titles, and then the return will be the DD, the second one that you gave a name to. Then the lookup value is this one. Now you get the answer here. If you don't get the right answer, the match mode, you put -1, which is similar to false in VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. Here we put -1, or you can ignore it. Then okay. So we got our answer right. So I will advise you to always make use of XLOOKUP. It's easier to solve any complicated lookup functions. Right. Let's move straight to the next one, which is 3.4. Calculate the duration of the training in days. Now, this question says we must calculate the days. So now, if you have 2 dates given and you want to calculate the number of days, we use days. Days, and then you click on FX. So it says end date. End date is the finish date, and then the start date will be the date started. Then okay. So this will give you the number of days. So take note, days function is used to get the number of days. Then when you have days, you can equally convert it to the years by dividing it by 365.25, which will give you the number of years. Then you change it to from date to number. So this is the number of years between these two. So we can use days to do all sorts of calculation, whether you want to calculate the years, or if you are dealing with years, you can also use year frec. Year frec is for the number of years, the start date and the end date. That is for the number of years. But if it's days, we use the days function. So please take note of that. Now the next question, function to display the highest training cost. Highest meaning max. We have to find the highest training cost, which is equals to max. According to the question in J10, yeah, the highest equals sign max, and then you select all the training cost. Right. Or you can use large also to get the same answer. Equal sign, large. You click on FX, then array, you select all the training cost. The K is 1. That means the largest. When you arrange them from the largest to the smallest, the K, the position, which is 1. So that's how we use the large and small. Right. Let's move straight to the next question. Work in the summary worksheet. Insert the subtotal tool to calculate the training cost per company. Now, because of per company, we use the subtotal. Sometimes the question can tell you to use a spreadsheet feature. So here, total, we use the sum. So how do we do that? We go to the summary worksheet. First of all, we need to sort it by selecting the entire data. And then how do we sort? We can use the search and say sort. It will give you the advanced sort. Or alternatively, you go to the home tab, you'll find sort and filter, and then custom sort. So here, which one are we sorting according to? Because the question says per company, that means we are sorting according to the company. So you can say maybe by or for each. So we sort according to that in ascending order. And then you click OK. Now, after sorting, you can get the subtotal from data tab. And then you see subtotal. On the last part, under the outline, you see subtotal. Now, at each change in, you select the column that you sorted according to. And we all know that we sorted according to company, so you select that one. And what function are we going to use? Because the question says use the total training cost. So we use the function called sum and then add subtotal to training cost because it's a total training cost. Now watch out for this. Sometimes the question can tell you to put a page break between groups or the summary below or the summary should be above. So if the summary should be above, you must untick this one so that the summaries will be above each group. Then okay. So you can see here all the byte bridge, then it does the calculation for you. So it will be on top for each. Right. So this is how we do the subtotal feature. Now let's move straight to question 4. Question 4. 4 results. Now, the first one, 4.1.1, merge and center cells A1 to F1 and add a light green shading to the merge field. So we are going to merge A1 to, so here's A1 to F1. You select them. And then you find merge and center here. If you don't know where it is, like I always advise you, just type merge and center. Very simple from the search tool. Now the question again says, shade it with a light gray. You can get the shading from any group here. When you click on alignment tab, you see fill. Now, or you can just go there and say shade or fill, use the keyword. So if it doesn't give you, so here it gives you the fill color and others. But now here they want us to put a certain style. Here they say light green, so it's very simple, not a pattern style. So you can even do it here and choose any light green color. Or you go to alignment, fill, and then choose any light green. Right, don't forget other types of filling. We have the pattern style. We also have the fill effect. They can ask you diagonal up with 2 colors. Take note of that. Right, now the next question. Use a feature on cell A5 to A100 to automatically generate sequential learner numbers from 1 up until 96. Now, whenever they say automatically generate numbers, then we use what we call autofill. So you start by typing 1. You click on that 1, put a mouse pointer at that bottom there, the edge there, and you double click. It's going to put 1, 1, 1, 1 up to the last point. Now, when you go to the last numbering, you will see autofill options. Click there and choose fill series. It's going to give you 1, 2, 3 up until that number that you want. Right. So here it says 96. So you can continue again and go to that number. Right. So basically, that's how we call the autofill effect. The next question, sum if. Use sum if function when the person is older than 16 years and belongs to Northwest Province for 5 marks. Now, we are going to put a function here as our question number. It says in D2. So here is D2. So sum if function equal sign sum ifs, and then you click on fx. Now sum ifs has sum range and criteria range 1. Now when you talk about the sum range, the one that you are finding the total of. So the question say find the total marks. The total marks. So we go to sum range and then we select all the marks. Whenever you see range, range means group. So you select the marks. And then the criteria range 1. This question again says older than 16 years in column F. So where do we find the age? So you select the values under column F. Remember, whenever you get range, range means group of cells. And there is a older than 16 years. Among the ages from F5 to F44 or 54, what criteria do you want? Greater than 16 years. So you say greater than 16. And criteria range 2, you check the question again, belongs to Northwest Province in column B. So the range, we select all the provinces. Remember, when you say range, range means select that group of cells. And then the criteria, among all these that you have selected, which one are we looking for? They say they belong to Northwest. And how do we see Northwest? You see Northwest with NW at the end. So we can say ending with NW, that is star NW, meaning it ends with NW, because that's the only one that ends with NW. Take note, and then okay. So we got 982. Or alternatively, you can, instead of it to say star NW, Northwest begins with North, but then the Northern Cape also begins with North. So you have to type maybe North with space, West with star at the beginning. That means beginning with Northwest, beginning with Northwest, and then okay. So here is going to give us a challenge because of the space in between. It's going to give us a challenge. So the easier way is to put at the end Northwest, or you can also copy it. You can copy the Northwest and then you come and put it in your answer there, and then you type it here. But I prefer you make use of, you see, when you copy and then you want to paste, it's not giving you the chance. So it's better you use the wild card ending with NW. Or you can say it contains NW by putting star, star, asterisk, NW, and then you end it. That means it contains. Right. So it's better you put the star before and then the star after. If you cannot remember where it is ending, just put the asterisk before and asterisk at the end. Right. Or you can also do that by saying contains West, because that's the only one that contains West. So you say star West star, because that's the only province that contains West. Right. So that is it for that question. Now let's move straight to the next question that says apply conditional formatting to the marks when by using the traffic light colors. When it is green, then it's greater or equal to 75. And then orange is 50 to 74. Please, let's go there on the marks. So conditional formatting, I will select all the marks. And then conditional formatting is under styles from the home tab. If you don't know where to find it, I advise you to type conditional. And then you go to new rule. Now, the question says we are going to use color scale, which is the flag. No, it's the icon set. So here, all cells based on their values, we choose the icon set. And then what type of icon are we choosing? Flag. So we look for, let's check. No, it says traffic light. So we look for traffic light icon. Here is it. And then take note, the type, it should be a number, not percent. So the type, you choose number, not percent. And then the value, that's where we are going to fill in these values. The first one says when the value is greater or equals to 75. So you see greater or equals to 75. So you type the 75. Don't forget, sometimes you can get a question that says when it's greater instead of greater or equals to. And then the second one says from 50 to 74. That means the start value is 50. So you don't type where it is ending. We type the values that is beginning. So here, the start value should be 50. And then the last one, where it says 0, you don't type anything. That would be the obvious choice, that less than 50. And then OK. So that is the question, how to solve that question as well. And then 4.5, if statement. Display in G5 the message or the word distinction if a learner scored more than 80 and then is 16 years or younger. Otherwise, we should display it blank. If the person is below or equals to 16 years and then the score is 80. Now, where is the score? That's the mark. If the score is 80, so we are going to use combination of functions. We are going to use combination of functions. We are going to use if and then and function. So I'm going to break them down. Equal sign, if. You double click on fx. Then you click on fx here. Now, where it says the logical text, that's where you are going to put the combination of these two conditions. Now, because it says and, that means both conditions must be met. So here we put and, which is also a function, and then we open the bracket. Now, the moment you open that bracket, you will see from the formula bar, there's open and close bracket. Click inside it, then it's going to give you and function argument. And this is where you are going to put your logical values. The first one is more than 80, the mark. So here I click on the mark, greater than 80. And then the second one is younger than 16. So you go to logical 2, the age less than or equals to 16. Now, after putting both conditions here, you now go back to if, your first if. Click just after if, and then it will give you value if true and value if false. So here we type distinction, and then the value if false, we leave it empty. You press the space bar. That means leave it empty, and then OK. So if I autofill, some are going to have distinction, others are going to have empty because both criteria were not met. So take note, we can have combination of if and then and if and then or, and then we have also if and then X or if and then no. So take note, there's X or, there's also no or not, and then we also have or, and then we also have and. These are all logical functions that we can combine it together with if statement. Now, let's see how we can also assist learners who want to make use of building block. Now, if you want to use building block, we can first use the AND function, then we combine it with the if function. So I go to the building block. On the same row, I use AND function, equal sign, AND. Then you click on FX so that you can put your first condition. Mark is greater than 80, and then logical 2, the age is less than or equals to 16. Then I click OK. So here I can autofill or drag it down. So some are true, some are false. Now, I'm going to put the if statement here. So if the value here is true, then I must put distinction. If the value here is false, then it should be empty. So that I can use the simple if. So equal sign if. Then you click on FX. Logical text. We go and click the answer that you have in the building block. J5 equals to true. Please do not put the true in inverted comma because the true is the a result as a result of the logical functions. So you don't have to put it in inverted comma as a text. If it's equal to true, then we put distinction. Otherwise, we put empty space. So here is simple. You use the logical test, the AND function, then you now come and use the if statement here. So we can also autofill and you get the same answer. So I'll prefer that you make use of the building block as well to break it down, to make it easier. Make it easier, use building block and use the AND function. Then after that, you come and use the if statement in the cell where you must put the answer. Remember, if the J5, the answer that you have here is equal to true, don't put the true in inverted comma, distinction. Otherwise, it should be empty. Right. So that's how we solve. We make these questions become easier, 6 marks. But then when you break them down like this using building block, it becomes easier. Now, let's also use 4.6 building block. I prefer building block more often. It's easier to achieve that. Now, they say the grade and this one are placed in the same cell. They are all in one cell. Yeah, that's 4.5. The grade and then the class, they are all in one cell here. So you can see E1, E1B. Now, since they are not having the same number of characters, you cannot use right function only. You can't. Because this has 3, this has 2. So you can't use only right function. Otherwise, which number of characters are you going to use? Right. Now, let's try and solve it. If you are extracting from the right-hand side, as you can see here, we are only looking for this part, E1B, not grade 12 with a dash. So whenever you are taking from the right-hand side, from your building block, all that you need to do is to make use of one, right function. So since we are putting the answer here in row 11, in row 11, the same place in the building block. Don't go and put it anywhere. Some learners might make a mistake, they put it on the top. It should be on the same row. So if you are picking from the right hand side, you need what we call left. You need the len, you need the right, and you need the len minus 1. Sorry, we need the len, we need the find, and then we need the right function. Sorry for that. So here I must use the len function, equal sign len, to determine the total length of this. So equal sign the length of D11. I got 8. Then after that, you use a function called find. Equal sign find, or you can also use search. I click on FX. Find text. What text are you finding? We are finding the position of the space. Oh no, the dash, because the dash is the one separating grade 12 from whatever we are going to extract. So find text will be the dash. Within text from D11. So it gives me 5. That is the position of that. Now, after that, you go to the next column, press equal sign, click on the bigger value, which is the len, minus the smaller value. So I got 3. So here is equal sign, the bigger value minus the smaller value. That's the len value minus the smaller value, which is the find. I got 3. So this one now becomes the number of characters I'm going to use. So I go to where I must put the answer, equal sign, right function. Why am I using right function? Because the class is on the right hand side. You click on FX, the text, you click on the D11, the number of characters, you go and click on your final answer, this one. So there we go. We got the answer to be E1B. Now let's see whether it will work. If I autofill, and I autofill here as well, I autofill this side. Then if I come back here and autofill, I got E2, E3, E2A, and others. It will do automatically for me. Right. So basically, this is how we apply the text function, combining different text function. Because we are taking from the right hand side, we need right function, we need len function, we need find function, and then we subtract the len minus find. So if I display my formulas here, this is what I got. Here is it. Len of D11 equal sign. Find, what are we finding? Dash from D11. And then here, equal sign, the bigger value, which is K11, minus L11, the value for find. And this one becomes the number of characters that we are going to use for our find function. So if it was left, we only used len find minus 1. So take note, watch out for these types of questions or combination of just other functions. Right, now we move straight to the last part, which is the graphs. Then we are done with spreadsheet. The last part, which is the graph. The graph was created for you, or they didn't create a graph. Right, so let's try and create that graph. Then we check the text directions and others. So you select the names and this, and then the graph, you go to insert. Now the graph, maybe 3D, which is column graph. So we have the names here and we have the marks there. Now, after inserting this graph, what do you need to do? You click on the labels here. Check the question again. They were rotated vertically. So you click there and then you right click. Then you go to format axis. It will allow you to change the rotation with a number. So if it doesn't show here, you check this one. We use this one to change them. So the data labels, label position. Yeah, it's fine here. So you must check the rotation here. Text direction should be vertical up. Let's check whether it's vertical up. Yes. So when you go there, you go to the text or the size and properties, and then you change it to vertical up, which is this one. Rotate all text 270 degrees. And if you want to be center, you can choose based on what you see on the screen. Right. That's the first instance. Now let's check again. The max start from 74 is fine. And then we must also put the data labels. We must put the data labels. You select them, and then you click on this one, then you choose data labels. So the data labels will be there. Then again, the data points. These ones, you select them, all of them. To select all of them, and then you go to the properties as well. So here is the labels, maybe more option. Now here, we are going to choose this one, whereby it wants you to fill with different colors. Let's check the question. They were having different colors. So you go to fill, and then you choose no, sorry, it must be selected this one. And then you choose vary color by point. Please make sure that you don't select the data labels, but then you select the series themselves. And then you take this one, vary color by point, so that it will change the colors automatically. Right. Now, the next thing to do is to insert our X and Y axis. So when you go there, that's the chart element, then you choose axis titles. Then we can now type based on the question. It's marks and then learners. So marks vertically. And then horizontally is we have learners. Right. So marks and learners. And then the last part here is whereby you need to change these cones here. You need to change them to cone. Now, like I was saying, you can even go to format, and then where they say the shape effect, then it can easily take you there. Now, let me do it again. When you select this cone, these bars, then you have the chart design and format. Then you see the shape effect and shape outline. When you click there, it's going to give you the series with a gap depth. And now you see different shapes here, full cone or pyramid. So I think this question was a pyramid. So we choose full pyramid. Or the partial one. No, it's a partial pyramid because there's some that are being cut there. It's a partial pyramid, yes. And then, okay. So basically, this is what you needed to do regarding this particular question. Now we move straight to database. We move straight to database questions. We move straight to database questions. 5 learners. We're asked to open 5 learners database. Now, the question says, change the name field size to 40. And then we will open, let's check again, TBL learners. So this is TBL learners. You right click and choose design view. Don't forget to open enable content. Now, we might change the learner name size to 40. You change it to size of 40. And then set the most suitable data type for date of birth field. So this is date of birth. It's giving you short text. We need to change it to date or time. Then make the learner ID field a compulsory field. So this is the learner ID compulsory field, meaning that we must set it to a property called required. So you click on learner ID, and then the property called required, we change it to yes. You select yes. Then the next question, create a combo box for the province field using the list of provinces from the table TBL province. Now this is the province. Now anytime the question says combo box, and then you are adding to another table, you go to the lookup from the property sheet, you see lookup. And then it says display control, it gives you text box. Change the text box to combo box. Now, the moment you change it to combo box, you see row source type. It says table or query, and then the row source, you select the name of the table, TBL province. That's the shortest way of changing a particular field into a combo box whereby it has the table. Right. The next question, add a validation rule to the mark field to accept value from 0 to 100. So the mark field, this is the mark field. So we go to general and the validation rule. From 0 to 100, that means between 0 and 100. That means from 0 up until 100, between 0 to 100. And then the validation text, you say max from 0 to 100 allowed. Please don't repeat between again, just say from. That means the start value up until the end value. Now, create an input mask for the learner ID to accept 2 or 3 digits, which is capital, and then followed by 4 digits, or 2 or 3 compulsory capital letters, followed by 4 digits. So input mask for learner ID, input mask. Then it says 2 or 3. That means the first 2 are compulsory letters. The third one is optional letter. And it says capital letter. So you put greater than first 2, which is 2L, and then question mark. Question mark represent optional letter, followed by 4 digits, which is 4 zeros. Right. So basically, that is how you needed to do. I want to just show you how I type it. There's the input mask. Greater than, that means uppercase, and then 2L, that is 2 letters, or 3. That means the third one is question mark, which is optional letter, and then 4 digits, 4 compulsory digits. That is this one. Right, so basically this is what the question wanted us to put as our input mask. Right, we move straight to the next set of questions. We move straight to the next set of questions, which is the form. Which is the form. It says open the form list, and then we apply the necessary changes. Now, here is the form. So you right click and choose design view. Now let's look at what was done to the form. The title says learners. So we change this title to learners. And then this title must have a border around it. Like I said, to place a border, you can go to Format, and then you go to Shape Outline, and then you put the line thickness. You can put a border there, simple, or alternatively, you must activate, you right click and choose Properties. Then you can now put a border around it. So you see the border width and then the border size or the style. Right. Now, after that, the next one is to insert the background image. How do we insert background image? You click on the details section. Then from the Format tab, you will see background image. Then you can browse for that background image. And then the last part is to put an action button that says Save Record. How do you put the action button in the footer section? You open the footer section. Action buttons, you get it from Form Design. This is action button. This is action button. You click and then you draw it. Then, because the question says Save Record, so because it's a record operation, so we go to record operation, not navigation, and then you see Save Record. If you don't know where to find it, just go through all of them, then you see the right one. You go to next, and then it should be a text, not a picture. Sometimes the question can tell you to browse and use a picture as the button. You take a picture, then you browse it. So here we choose text because it was written Save Record, and then we'll finish. Now you see the Save Record there. Right. So basically that's what we need to do for that question. And then we move to the query. Create a query QRY5_3 in design view. Now, okay, this one we are opening the query to display the name, surname, province, and mark. The query was created for you. So you right click on the query and choose design view. Now the question says we should display the name, surname, province, and mark. The name should be first. So we choose the name first, and then the surname second, followed by the province, and then followed by the mark. Followed by the mark. Now, let's go and check the criteria. Only include learners who receive a mark above 75%. So you go to the mark column. As soon as you are done selecting your field, run to see what is displayed. Now the question says you must choose only the marks that are more than 75. So we go back to design view, and under the mark for criteria, we say greater than 75. Then again, sort descending order according to the mark. So we have the sorting in descending order according to mark. Right, then let's run. So this is what we have. Only the mark above 75, and it should be descending order. Right, now 5.4, there's a screenshot for query 5.4. You right click and then open design view. Now we see only province and then the mark. But then here it says province and AVG of mark. Like I always say, when you see a function name and then with OF, with the O, which is not a normal one, capital O, that means we use aggregate function. How do we solve that? You activate the total from the query design. You see totals. Then it's going to give you the total row under the mark. Why do we choose under the mark? Because it's a AVG of mark, but not just a mark. we select AVG, the function name there, and then we run it. So here we see AVG of math. You get hashtag at the beginning, drag down or drag or widen up. Then it gives you so many decimal places. But for the screenshot, it's only having 2 decimal places. That means that they change the decimal place into 2. How will you do that? You go back to design view, still click inside the mark. Then you see property sheet. If it is not there, you right click and choose properties. And then format, you change it to fixed, then the decimal place to 2. And then you run it. So now we have the actual 2 decimal place. Watch out for these type of questions whereby it only has a screenshot. A screenshot. Right. Now, we move straight to the third query, whereby we are supposed to create a query, and then we have some calculated field. So now to create a query, you go to create query design. You go to create query design. Now, according to the question, it should be based on TBL learners. So that's a table, not queries. So where it says add tables, you select tables, and TBL learners, double click. Now the query wants us to add name, surname, date of birth, and province. So you double click on name, surname, date of birth, and lastly province. You select them as it is. Now, after that, it says only include individuals who were born from the year 2007 to 2010. Now, let's go and check date of birth. We run. Only those who were born from 2007 to 2010. But then you can see that the date of birth only has date. It does not have the year. So what you need to do is we put the criteria under the date of birth. We say between the first date in 2007, which is 01/01/2007. Remember to type the date in the basic format, the day / the month / the year. Then you press the space bar and so between the first date and the last date. Now the question says up to 2010. So last date of 2010, which is 31st December 2010. So between 1st of January 2007 and 31st December 2010. Now it gives you this. Let's check whether the date of birth was formatted as. You must check whether the date of birth was formatted as date and time. Yes, it's short text, so we needed to make it to be date and time. Otherwise, it's going to give us a problem. So take note. So you say between this and that. If you did not do that, it's going to give you a problem. So it should be date and time. I did not save my work initially. That's why it's giving me this. But then you needed to just say between the first date and the last date. Then it's going to give you inside a hashtag. Now, insert a calculated field called days to display the number of days that have passed between the date of birth. This one is going to give us a problem if we don't change the table. Let me change it, the table to be date of birth or date and time. And I think you guys did that. It must not be, it should be date and time, not short text. Otherwise, we are going to face a problem. Let me reopen it. Right, so basically, you must have changed it. Yeah, now it's working, date and time. Then I can now create my query comfortably. Now it says it's mismatched. So I go to create query design, and then I select them. Learner's name, surname, we have date of birth and province. Now, then I put the date of birth that's between 1st January 2007 and 31st December 2010. Don't forget to use between. Then the moment I use between, you see that it's giving me hashtag. That means it's a date. It's giving me the hashtag. Then now I'm going to create a calculated field called days, the number of days that have passed. So I go to an empty space. I right click and say build. Now I'm going to calculate the number of days. So here it's between the current date. So you have to check the function, built-in function, whether it's having the proper functions there based on date and time. I don't know whether you have this. You have all these date if, date add, and date. Now, the current date, we use the date as the current date. So we double click on date, minus, or alternatively, you can just start by typing date. It will give you FX. You close the bracket, it's a minus. Then our query, or if it doesn't show you all of them, just go to the 5 learners, the table. It should give you all the fields that are there. In this case, the date of birth. If you cannot do that, I'm not sure what kind of office you are using. You can equally type them. As you start typing date of birth, because it says date of and then birth. And it must be in this square bracket. But the best way is to just double click them so that you don't make mistake. Best way is to just double click so that you don't make any mistake. Double click and then okay. So now it says EXPR. Let me run it and see. It gives me EXPR, but then the name should be days. So I will now go there and change this EXPR, and then I type days. Make sure you don't delete the column. And now we have our query. Right. The last part regarding the report. The report was there. Now they want us to group and then sort and then do some calculation. So this is the report. You right click and choose it in design view. Now, when you open it in design view, you won't see group and sort. Then you must click on group and sort, or alternatively, go to tell me what to do and type group. So you see sorting and group. Then it's going to give you add a group and add a sort. So you click on add a group. According to the question, you group according to province and sort according to surname. So here we group according to province. And then add sort, and then we sort according to surname. Now, again, the question says, insert a function to find the total mark per province. So you go to where you have group, which is province, more, and then you will find with no totals. It's a total mark. So totals on, we choose mark. because the question says total mark. And then the type of function used is sum, and then we choose group footer. Then insert appropriate label. So the calculation is here. We click on the label, which is A, small a, and then we draw it so that we can type total mark per province. Right. So this is what we have, total mark per province, and then the calculation is done. So basically, this is all about database. It's all about database. Now, we have exhausted most of the time. I think the questions were only 6. The last question is HTML. I'm going to take at least 5 minutes to complete the HTML. Now, add the horizontal line. We say we must open 6_smart. You right click and say open with Notepad++. I think this, my laptop, I don't have Notepad++, but then I can use Notepad as well. So now the first question says, we must insert a horizontal line that stretch 80%. So 6.1.1, we insert horizontal line here, which is HR slash, and then the thickness. Let's check whether the question asks for the thickness. Yeah, the width equals to 80%. Right. So that's the first question. To change it. Now the second question says, ensure that the table heading in the first row is merged across the width of the table. Now the table heading, here's the table heading, TH. In the first row, this one. So it's merged across the entire. So there are 3 rows here. So we say call span equals to, because there are 3 columns, so we call span equals to 3. We are combining 3 columns. Call span equals to 3. Call span equals to 3 because there are 3 columns. In other words, there are 3 TH here. So we are combining it. We say call span equals to 3. Now insert a 6 watch image to appear similar to the others in the table. Now other images are here inside TD. So they want us to add another image here just after here. So the easier way is to copy what you already have. Just copy this. And then you come and put it here, paste. Now the name of the image should be 6 watch 3. So you change the name of the image. And then it will be there. Then you save it. Now, the next question, hyperlink to www.education.gov. Now let's see where the hyperlink is. That is 6.1.4. So we insert the hyperlink here. Ahref equals to this www.gov, and then we close our hyperlink reference. We close our hyperlink reference, and then visit DB website will be there. So here we only needed to type Ahref equals to, and then the link is already there. Right, so that's 6_1. And then the last part will be 6 ICT. That is the multi-level list for 8 marks. Now you can see the first level is what is ICT. So let's open it, and then we edit it to look like that. So we say edit with Notepad. Now, the first list, what's ICT is LI. So you must check. It says UL, but then here is bullet. Yes, it's fine. But then what is ICT is OL type equals to 1. So here we need to include type equals to 1. Or you can ignore it and say OL type, or you ignore type equals to 1 because by default it chose 1, 2, 3. Now let's check what's ICT. What's ICT? There's nothing under 8, so the LI must be closed. This one LI also. The only part that we need to change is web browser and search engine. So here we close our LIs, and this one also we close this LI because there's nothing under 8. And then we close the web browser, the one that says the web browser. There are other lists below it. That's where we need to work on it. Because the module 2 internet browser also has another list. That's why they did not close the LI. But in the web browser and search engine, there is UL under it. So UL type equals to circle. Because there's a circle bullet. And because there are 3 search engines under it, we don't need to close the LI here. So here, the LI for this one must be deleted. We will close it when we are done. LI, LI, then the last LI will be Microsoft Edge. So you put LI again with Microsoft Edge, the list. And then you close your LI. This one is for the last list here, Microsoft Edge. Now, as soon as we are done, we can now close our LI 4. So this LI here is for the web browser and search engine. This LI here. Right. Then the online safety is also having another list. So we must put another LI. And then we close it here as well. So if you are using Notepad++, it's easy. You click on each to track and see whether each of them are having corresponding close tag, to see that each of them are having their own corresponding close tag. So basically, this is all about that question. I will make the memo available tomorrow, but then these solved ones also will be available, the recordings that you can watch later. Thank you for your time. If there's any question that any of you wants us to solve, we can equally do them. But then from now, all the videos are available for you, grade 12. Revise. The documents are also there. Use it to revise. But maybe a day or 2, if your province is about to write examination, let me know so that I can assist you to revise with you as well. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Goodbye.